you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored as always by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please, get comfortable. Grab a cup of coffee, maybe an iced coffee since summertime is here on the Space Coast, a pencil or paper to jot down a note or two, because we're always efforting to bring you important information that you can use and, even more importantly, share with others. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. My name is Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran, a retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. But as you also all know, I don't fly through the airwaves alone.
Good morning. I'm Glenn McGuffey, manager of your Brevard County Veteran Services team. And we're going to try and remember to tell you at the front of the show from now on, get a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, because as always, throughout the show, we're going to give you some important contact points, whether it be World Wide Web or phone numbers, my office phone number, those kind of things. We want you to be prepared, and despite what Garen said about inferring you can only have a cup of coffee, you can also have iced tea and water and whatever else you want to have to drink. So
the summertime is here, baby.
Yeah, it is. Well, with that, what are we going to start with today, Garen?
You know what? I talked about this during our last episode, and I'm going to keep stressing it because I know, and we know this for a fact, we have listeners across the United States, and we need everybody to jump on board and get their congressmen, both in the House and the Senate. This is up in D.C., not your state, but you know what? It wouldn't hurt to give them a call, too. We need to have co-sponsors and support for the Deployed Troops Support Act of 2013. This is one of those things you want to write down. H.R.1756. That's House Resolution 1756. And the reason this is so important is because this opens up a program that has existed since back in the Kennedy administration, where the taxpayers of this awesome country we live in have supported foreign nationals in a humanitarian aid sort of way by using resources, taxpayer-funded resources. It's like this. If there's space available on a military transport, and let's say, Glenn, they're going to Africa, and they're delivering some shipment to the troops that are deployed there, because folks, we got troops all over the planet.
Yeah, and people don't seem to realize that. You know, I was looking at that USAA commercial on TV, and one of the kids on there says, "I got mine in Djibouti, Africa." And you know, how many people thought we had troops in Djibouti, Africa? I didn't even think we had troops there.
You know, and that's interesting because this last weekend, and I know I'm getting off the point, but I'll come back. I veered off, but I'm coming back. This last weekend, AVET Project and all of our awesome volunteers and sponsors and supporters put on an incredible family day. It was a celebration of the 920th Rescue Wing's success for their ORI, that big operational readiness inspection, and also, you know, just a general family day picnic for over 1,000 people. That's troops and their family members. But it also celebrates a pre-deployment situation, because we talk about Djibouti, you mentioned that. Guess what? In August, 25 members of the 920th are going over there. September, another 25. In January, the 920th Rescue Wing is going to be sending over 330 troops to Djibouti, Africa, to support naval operations and other things there. So when you mentioned that little kid on there says, "I got mine through Djibouti," yeah, folks, we got them all over the planet. Well, this Deployed Troops Support Act of 2013, H.R. 1756, opens up space available on military transports to aid our troops. If you're a nonprofit and you want to send a care package or blankets or whatever, even refrigerators, whatever they may need, if you want to support it, you can do so, and the logistics will be handled. It's a joint Department of Defense, State Department effort called the Denton Program, operated under USAID. It's been going on for some 50 years, folks, but it has always, up until now, excluded support of our troops. Well, guess what? Our esteemed Congressman Bill Posey has, and his staff, introduced H.R. 1756, which changes that and opens up the door for those of us that love our country and love our troops and want to show them support to get on board, get this law changed so that we can support our troops this way. So it's an awesome opportunity for you and all your friends. I don't care if you're listening to us in Montana, online, of course, unless you got a really awesome receiver. Even if you're over in Afghanistan, because guys and gals, we know you're listening. We hear about it all the time. Call your congressman, send them a letter, but make some noise about H.R. 1756. We've got to get this done. And hats off to Bill Posey and his awesome staff for getting this together. We've been working on it for over 2 years, but it's going to happen, but we need everybody's support. I'm going to give you a phone number. Now, this, again, is not all that important. Actually, I'm not even going to do that because Posey and his staff are already on board. I was going to give you Kristen Kapovic. Now, that's the gal in Posey's office that really spearheaded this effort with some 2 years worth of direction from me. But it's happening, and we need your support. So make some noise. Get every congressman in this country. There's 535 people in D.C. that represent us?
That's right, and I disagree with you, Garen. Go ahead and give them that contact information, because even though our Congressman Bill Posey is sponsoring this bill, it doesn't help the sponsor. It helps the sponsor to get all kinds of support in their district, so that they can then go to other people and say, look what kind of support I'm getting in my district. Get that from your people.
That really is a good point. Okay, listen, I'm going to give you her email address. This is why we ask you to have a pen or paper. Kristen, that's Christen, Kristen.Kapovic, Kapavik, that's Kristen.Kapovic at mail.house.gov. Kristen.Kapovic at mail.house.gov. Send her an email. Let her know that you support this. You're behind Posey and his staff's efforts to get this done. And like Glenn said, then Congressman Posey can go to all his brothers and sisters on Capitol Hill and say, look, everybody in my district wants this. Let's make it happen.
That's right. And if you're not into doing email for whatever reason, if you don't have a computer, you can go to the library and do it. Or you can call them at 633-1776. That's 633-1776. And voice your support for the bill. They'll keep track of it.
Very good, very good. And Glenn, I know when you did your introduction, you always list your phone number at your office. What is that again?
633. This is my office. 633-2012. 321-633-2012. And particularly you folks listening down in the Barefoot Bay, Mico area, don't forget to add the area code to it, because it unfortunately is a long distance call for you. But I don't think nowadays long distance means anything, because if you got a phone, it usually has a plan that you can call at least anywhere in the United States free of charge.
Right, right. And your office is located
out in the County Government Center in B Building. That's Bravo Building on the first floor, Suite 102. I am, let me tell you that again, B Building out in the County Government Center in Viera. That's just west of the courthouse, just across the street from the school board. Can't miss it. There's a group of 5 buildings there. And I got a little tickled yesterday in the hallway. There was a gentleman standing there looking at one of the 5 signs on the wall that has an arrow saying Veteran Services this way. And he went into the office right there, which has to do with housing, and asked him, where's the Veterans office?
Follow the
despite
arrows.
our best efforts,
Follow the arrows.
Sometimes people just don't recognize the help we were trying to give them in getting to us.
That's funny. Hey, I wanted to throw this out there too. It's kind of an important bit of news for those of us that want to protect the integrity of the awards that were issued for valor and combat and different things like that. I'll quickly state that the 45th Space Wing is going to have a change of command. I had the privilege of presenting Brigadier General Tony Cotton with a plaque from AVET Project celebrating his service, his tour here on the Space Coast. He's going to be leaving, going up and doing some, I think he's getting another star. He's going to be a 2-star. watching over
for
this.
him.
Yeah, watching over this nation's spying. Really, it's
Well, that's all part of Space Command's mission, so fits right in there in my mind.
exactly. So, General Cotton, if you're listening, we thank you for all of your service, and we look forward to meeting your successor. It is a gal. She's going to be a brigadier general as well. That'll be happening here just shortly. But the idea there is we want to, and I honored him a little bit with his achievements and the Stolen Valor Act. Glenn, we've all heard about this.
Yep, and the unfortunate part right now is a man was running around. There's more than one, but there was a particular court case about a man running around saying they've been awarded all these kinds of things for their own personal gain. Was why they were telling people that, not just to, make people think that they were a big wartime hero. Well, that was part of it. But once they were taken to court, I guess one of the appellate level courts shot it down and said he can do that because that's freedom of speech.
Yeah,
So it
constitutionally
anybody
protected.
can run around saying anything. I was a Medal of Honor winner, and
I was a
I had
Navy
2
SEAL.
Silver Stars, and I was a SEAL, and
And there's
with
lots of those around.
with no repercussions. So, yeah.
Okay, well, here's what happened. The judge upheld his constitutional right to lie to everybody. I mean, I don't even recall if the guy was ever in the service, but there's lots of frauds.
He wasn't,
out there.
as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
isn't that pathetic? There's lots of frauds out there. Well, guess what? The Stolen Valor Act, because they had to rework it after that judge, basically took the rug out from under them. So they reworked it, and guess what? On a House vote on May 20th, 390 to 3. Now, I want to know who those 3
I want to know those 3 myself. I want to write them a letter of thank you.
Well, 390 people actually had a clue, and they passed this. Now, what it does, it protects the prestige and the status of these combat awards. This is people that have gone above and beyond, whether it's while they're alive or posthumously awarded. The idea is if anybody claims to have one of these valorous, is that the right word?
That's right.
Okay, these valorous awards, whether it's a combat action badge, like you said, the Purple Heart, Silver Cross, Navy Cross, whatever, if they have one of those, that's great. If they don't have one and they're claiming they do, now here's the caveat, and they are trying to extort money or trying to say, I'm this or that, so send me money and I'll help the troops.
Or get a job, or...
Right. If they're trying to use their stolen valor, their lies, to generate income for themselves or their group, whatever it might be, then they've committed a crime. And I like it.
I like it too. I like it even better when they take away and just say if they're doing it for any reason, but it's a start in the big right direction because, I just can't tell you how repugnant that is to me.
Exactly. So, folks, that's a good thing. With all the backwards stuff that's going on in Washington, D.C., at least there's a few shining lights. And I want to say something else. Y'all hear our intro, our bumper music is what we call it, from Soldier Hard. Now, he's a 10-year, 3-combat tour vet. He makes this incredible music that is so steeped with message, and the music itself is great. But unlike every other rapper, now he's a mill hop artist, military hip hop. I can understand his words, and I encourage you to check it out, because guess what? He has a song about stolen valor and a video that goes along with it. So again, you got your pen out there, write down Soldier Hard, just like it sounds, Soldier Hard, and when you get to his site, plug in Stolen Valor, or go to YouTube and it'll come right up. It's an awesome song about stolen valor, and he's got one called Red Flag, and I know the Marine Corps has promised to come on American Warrior Radio and speak about this ridiculous suicide situation we're dealing with in this country. It's up to 22 vets a day now, Glenn.
Oh my God. We got to find more effective ways. I know the VA is taking some big strides towards reducing that, but it's still way too high. We got to get other kinds of professionals involved and find a better plan. And I'm not knocking the plans that are in place and the efforts that are going on, but we got to get better at it.
Exactly, and you folks know in the archive section of American Warrior Radio, you'll find the local VA representative coming on and speaking about the crisis line. If you know a vet or even an active duty member that is potentially in crisis or contemplating taking their own lives because they can't deal with whatever's going on, shoot them over to American Warrior Radio, the archive section, and listen. And also tell them to go to the Soldier Hard site. There's a song there called Red Flags, and it's just an incredible song. It speaks very much to the tragedy that we're facing with all these vets and active duty members that are taking their own lives because they feel hopeless, Glenn.
Oh, I know. And one other resource in Brevard County, you can try 211 and get them to connect you up with some professionals that can give you some telephone help. Generally, I haven't seen anything that tells me, except in general terms, why these people are committing suicide. I mean, there's got to be a better identification method, and it may involve all of us. All of us need to get better trained on what to look for, what will make the button go off in our head, so that we encourage the person to seek help, or if they don't, just like sometimes you have to do with people with alcohol and drug problems, you have to be the person who makes an intervention and gets a hold of the people that can give them help. You got to get their attention to start with, or stop them from committing suicide to start with. I'm not a professional in that field. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I think the work needs to continue at a fast pace to come up with better ways to deal with this issue. 22 a day just
and that's the problem.
Me.
They're revising this number upwards, which is the wrong direction.
Exactly.
Just 6 months ago in December, we were quoting the statistics of 18 a day. Now we've added 4, and this is on average countrywide, and that's just, it's ridiculous. We've got to get a handle on it.
And I suspect unfortunately, it's going to go up some more because we're bringing home a ton of combat veterans from Afghanistan within the next year.
Yep, and you made a good point, and that is we don't know what these triggers are. We don't know what exactly is happening in their lives that makes them feel hopeless. But they have tied a few things together, and that is when our country asks them to deploy multiple times and be away from their family and be under constant stress, this hypervigilance of looking over your shoulder, knowing at any moment these crazy towelheads could be firing a mortar at you or gunning you down with small arms fire, whatever it might be. And folks, I don't care if they're sitting at a desk in a forward operating base or whether they're out there on the front lines, they're all subject to it.
Oh yeah, you're not safe anywhere, and we've talked about that before. Some of the people who are least safe over there, like a good friend of mine that's the county service officer over in one of the other counties, a female, she went over there for a year, and she was with a truck driving company, and that's one of the most hazardous jobs you can have over there, believe it or not, because of all the improvised explosive devices.
Yeah, driving down the roadway and boom. Our crackerjack engineer, Vince, runs the board here and screens the calls. He's so good. Glenn, you wanted to know who those 3 people were that voted against Stolen Valor?
Yeah.
All right, the 3 House members who voted against the bill were Republicans, Justin Amash of Michigan, and Ron Paul of Texas. Oh, shame on you, Ron.
Shame.
And Democrat George Miller of California. So Justin Amash, give him some love, people. Ron Paul of Texas. Oh, I got some issues with him. And Democrat George Miller said, nah, they should have their free speech. They should be able to say anything they want about their alleged, or let's just say, falsified service. Okay, so
I can't wait to hear what their offices spin this thing to say. It's going to be we're strong proponents of freedom of speech, and that's why we voted the way we did. I just can hear it now.
Yeah,
you're not strong proponents of our warriors.
Exactly. If without our warriors, folks, we got none of this.
You have no freedom of speech.
All right. The Constitution said the first thing the government needs to do is protect our nation.
That's first and foremost.
Yep. Because if you don't protect our nation, we have nothing. So
We don't have a nation.
that's right. That's right. So, folks, here's the thing: you got to make noise. All right. We got this mental health issue with all these vets giving up hope and taking their own lives. I will mention, this is an article out of the Air Force Times. They did a study and they say spouse abuse decreases post-deployment. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a good thing.
It definitely sounds like a good thing to me.
And maybe it's because, oh, gee, I haven't seen my husband and sometimes my wife in a year. And now that they're back, it's all lovey-dovey. That's great. So there's a few bright spots on the issue of all these deployments. And
Well, you know what? The military, all branches, have a significant effort underway to work with the spouses while the veteran's gone, to train them up on some of these things that are suicide indicators, that are post-traumatic stress disorder indicators, and what kind of behavior they might expect out of that, and where help is available to them from the VA, how to react to that at home. So I think that's obviously having a positive effect with that study in the Air Force, and I hope that same result is going on in all the other military branches. And just back to the suicide thing, training, and train maybe everybody. It's not impossible, it just takes a while.
right, and folks, every fourth Tuesday of every month, if you want to show your support, go to avetproject.org. avetproject.org. Make a donation, a money donation, $5, $50, whatever. Because every fourth Tuesday we host a dinner for families of the deployed. These are people, mainly women with their children, whose husbands are overseas and have been for months and months, sometimes years, and it gives them an opportunity to decompress, learn about potential benefits and programs that can help them cope with these long absences, these long deployments. So please, folks, get on and make a donation. We'll be right back on American Warrior Radio on AM 1300 WMEL. Talk to Me station. Don't go anywhere.
That's right.